Another lazy meal from a popular YouTuber, huh? Is this really worth eating?
Despite being my husband, he shows little interest in our family and consistently belittles the quick recipes I come up with. One day I was informed by an acquaintance that my husband was seen walking closely with another woman. When I confronted him, he said,
I come home tired from work every day, and you do whatever you like. And now, you suspect me of cheating? What kind of wife are you? Do you even have any proof?
That evening, pretending to clean in order to avoid raising Scott's suspicion, I made my way to the car parked in the garage. The dashboard, the back seats, the trunk. The interior light dimly illuminated the inside of the car. Casually, I pulled down the sun visor on the driver's side. What's this? There was an unaddressed brown envelope tucked in there. A wave of anxiety crashed over me. I hesitantly looked inside. Inside was a photo of an unfamiliar woman holding a baby with a beaming smile, a divorce application, and a letter. To Scotty. The letter was addressed to Scott. It's a boy, and he's born safely. Now you can get a divorce, it said. Scott's name was already filled in on the divorce application. It wasn't in Scott's handwriting. Ah, I see. We were practically over anyways. Well, if he wanted to end that badly, I'll grant his wish and make it quick. At that moment, my heart went cold. This was a betrayal against me and our daughter. I made a decision to serve a final dish called revenge. My name is Kathy Anderson. While raising my 6-year-old daughter Emma, I am also a cooking YouTuber. Having been skilled in cooking since my student days, I leveraged my talent to launch a YouTube channel a few years ago. There, amidst the busy life of a housewife, I have showcased numerous quick recipes that can be easily made at home and innovative arrangements using store-bought routine ready-made meals. Running the channel passionately while balancing family life, it has grown popular over the years and is now loved by many followers. It turned out nicely, didn't it? I wonder if it will please many people again. Today I was ready to upload another video fully utilizing my cooking skills. Despite the shining facade on camera, there was one thing that weighed on my mind. My face falls as I see the mouth-watering dishes.
I'll be late again today.
You're always working hard. Don't worry about home. I smiled back at Scott's words, but hidden behind that smile was loneliness. My husband Scott is a manager in charge of planning and development at an electronics manufacturer. He is dedicated to his work, highly trusted by his subordinates, and focused solely on his career. Recognized as a rising star by his superiors, he has been coming home late at night and appearing busy even on holidays since he was promoted a few years ago. Scott's return times have been getting later and later, and lately it has become rare for him to come home at all. I wonder if he notices my forced smile. No, that's impossible. Scott, who has never taken an interest in household affairs since our marriage, has never helped with housework or childcare, leaving me to bear it all alone. Even so, it's not like I'm unhappy. Mom, when is Dad coming home? The one who asked anxiously was my daughter Emma. Yes, I have a lovely daughter. Her presence always gives me strength. It seems he will be a bit late again today, sorry. I answer awkwardly. Emma's expression quickly turned sad. That's right, my daughter is 6 years old and still very much in her clingy phase. Just the other day, she confided in me that a friend at school had talked about how her dad took her to an amusement park. I thought, are Emma and my husband becoming more and more distant with each passing day? Feeling unbearable, I stroke Emma's head. Your husband works late, and yet you get to be so free. Being a YouTuber or whatever, always doing what you like. Debbie, my mother-in-law, marches in while glancing over at us. My expression tightens. Here we go again. It's always like this. Debbie constantly undermines my lifestyle choices and jumps at any chance to criticize me. I barely manage to suppress a deep sigh. The second source of my troubles is Debbie, who lives nearby. She is a widow, living alone now. Debbie has no understanding of my job as a YouTuber and looks down on it.
Quick recipes, you say? Sounds like just cutting corners to me.
It's always the same criticism, but it cuts deeper the more passionate I am about my beloved cooking. Yet while criticizing Debbie wanting to save on groceries, would come to eat the meals I prepared, even though I never invited her.
Basically, your marriage has never been right. You couldn't even produce a proper heir. What use have you been, I wonder? My granddaughter will just end up married off and can't even carry on the family name. I really drew the short straw with you.
Debbie in her 60s stubbornly holds on to the old-fashioned belief that the family should be continued by a boy, and is cold even to Emma. Her granddaughter's pure smile means nothing to her. I have to be strong. I am a mother after all. That's how I always get through it.
I'm home.
Welcome back. Scott finally comes home late at night. The few times he does come home, he neither helps with the childcare nor spares any praise for my quick recipes, only to mock them.
Another lazy meal from a popular YouTuber, huh? Is this really worth eating?
Every time we talk about cooking, he leaves a deep wound in my heart.
I'll be going to Mom's place tomorrow night.
Again? It seems he plans to stay over at his mother's house again. Scott coming home has become a rare occurrence.
Can't be helped. Ever since Dad died, Mom's been alone. What if something happens? It's not like I want to go. Don't you understand a son's duty? Well, it can't be helped. We only have a daughter after all. And you're going to make quick meals tomorrow, right?
My efforts to come up with quick recipes are mostly met with indifference from him, showing little interest in our family. I understand what Scott is saying. He's trying to fill the void left by my father-in-law who passed away early. However, the frequency of his overnight stays at his mother's has been increasing. Is it really necessary to take care of his mother so frequently? Or is there another reason? I couldn't help but delve deeper into that reason. One day when I went shopping in the neighborhood...
Oh, Kathy.
Hello, Helen. It's nice weather, isn't it? A friend of Debbie's, who happens to be a neighbor, came by to chat with me.
I had coffee with Debbie again the other day.
Oh, that's great.
By the way, I shouldn't speak too loudly about this, but I saw your husband, Scott, walking with a woman the other day.
What?
You know, she went into Debbie's house with him. Do you know her? It was someone I didn't recognize, so I thought it was unusual.
Is that so? It might be someone from work or perhaps someone related to caregiving.
Yes, that could be it. Sorry, don't worry about it.
Suddenly faced with this, I struggled to keep my voice steady and hurried away. Who could that be? What does that mean? My thoughts were in chaos. A combination of doubt and a feeling of impending doom left me uncertain of what to trust. Even after returning home, I couldn't shake off my unease. Seeing me unlike my usual self, Emma looked at me worriedly.
Mom, what's wrong? Are you okay?
Ah, yes, I'm fine. Just a bit tired. Now go to bed early so you won't be late for school tomorrow. I couldn't let things stay as they were. I needed to find out the truth for myself. After looking at Emma's face late at night, I made up my mind. I'll ask Debbie tomorrow about it, for Emma's sake too. The next morning, after sending Emma to school, I drove to Debbie's house. My heart was racing and my hands were sweaty. Upon arriving, I took a deep breath before getting out of the car. My hand trembled as I rang the doorbell. Debbie opened the door and looked at me with an awkward expression.
What brings you here so early?
Debbie, I'm sorry to come here so suddenly. I have something I wanted to ask. At first, I was too afraid to ask directly, but I summoned my boldness and inquired about the sighting of my husband with an unfamiliar lady. Debbie's response was unexpected.
Oh, that. Actually...
While she spoke vaguely, she began to reveal the truth. My husband has been struggling with work-related stress, and knowing this, Debbie became worried. She knew that her friend's daughter, Nicole, was a therapist, and introduced her to my husband.
You know, Scott is going through a lot. He has many worries that you might not understand. He's a rising star, and this is a crucial time for him. That's why it's best to leave these matters to a professional. However, I still had doubts about the extent of their relationship. I couldn't take her word for it and decided to talk directly with my husband. On the drive home, I deeply contemplated what to do next for our family. One thing was clear. I couldn't just do nothing. It was essential to clarify the truth through a conversation with my husband and think about our family's future. The following night, when my husband came home, I broached the subject to verify the truth. The other day, a neighbor of your mother mentioned seeing you walking with a woman who isn't me. She said she was introduced by your mother. What's going on?
Oh, that? Yeah, that's right. I've been stressed with work and you do whatever you like. When I come home, all I find are your quick meals implying you're cutting corners. I've been consulting with her about this lifestyle. She's a therapist, a specialist in her field. She understands my job position and has been helping me for a long time.
He admitted to her existence nonchalantly, showing no remorse.
You, always doing what you like, wouldn't understand.
With that, he quickly went to his study. A few days later, I received a call from Emma's tutoring center.
We haven't received this month's tuition fee,
they said. It was supposed to be automatically deducted, but the payment hadn't gone through, so they asked me to check. What's going on? There should have been about $80,000 in that account, and there's no way the deduction couldn't be made. I hurriedly went to the bank to check our account. Then I was shocked to see the balance. What is this? The $80,000 we had saved up, carefully put aside for Emma's education and our retirement, was gone. I immediately called Scott to ask what had happened. I just got a call that Emma's tutoring fee hasn't been paid, so I checked our bank balance, and the $80,000 that was in there is completely gone. Why? Did you spend it on something?
Yeah, I spent it. For therapy fees. Consulting a professional isn't cheap, you know. I often had to arrange meetings after work or when the clinic was closed. It's a hassle for the therapist, so I can't just ask for help without offering something in return.
I was stunned to hear what the money was spent on. He had used the $80,000 for therapy fees, expensive dinners, and luxury goods as a form of compensation. How could you? I can't believe this.
Huh. Blame me all you want. It's all your fault anyway.
Wait. Before I could finish, he hung up the phone. It was clear that their relationship wasn't just that of a therapist and client, given the amount of money spent. That night, I decided to search his car for evidence of infidelity. That's right. I remember the car being covered in sand when I took Emma to the park last time. I'll clean it up. That evening, pretending to clean in order to avoid raising Scott's suspicion, I made my way to the car parked in the garage. The dashboard, the back seats, the trunk, the interior light dimly illuminated the inside of the car. Casually, I pulled down the sun visor on the driver's side. What's this? There was an unaddressed brown envelope tucked in there. I had a bad feeling. I hesitantly looked inside. Inside was a photo of an unfamiliar woman holding a baby with a beaming smile, a divorce application, and a letter. To Scotty. The letter was addressed to Scott. It's a boy, and he's born safely. Now you can get a divorce, it said. Scott's name was already filled in on the divorce application. It wasn't in Scott's handwriting. Ah, I see. We were practically over anyways. Well, if he wanted it to end that badly, I'll grant his wish and make it quick. At that moment, my heart went cold. This was a betrayal against me and our daughter. I made a decision to serve a final dish called revenge. One day, Scott casually mentioned,
I'm going to my mom's place today.
All right. Assuming he was likely going to see his affair partner again, I felt no sadness. This is it. Today's the day. After making sure Scott had left, I packed up our things, and Emma and I left the house. Shortly thereafter, I submitted the divorce application that was in the envelope. This isn't the end of it. I took further steps. It was time to settle things properly. I discreetly hired a private investigator to file for compensation, confident of his infidelity. Soon enough, the results came back, confirming the affair. On the days Scott said he was staying at his mother's, He was actually dining out with a woman from the photo and then entering an apartment building 2 stations away. They didn't come out until the morning. That was the result. Just as I thought. I wasn't surprised at all. Through a lawyer, I demanded child support, compensation for emotional distress, and the misused $80,000. Scott called me immediately afterward.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? Don't mess with me.
You were the one who betrayed us first. That money was meant for our daughter's upbringing. You are her parent, after all. It's only right for me to do so.
Don't think you'll get away with this. You never wanted a daughter in the first place. You're both so alike, always cooking together. I was sick of it. I'm better off without you. If paying you off means I can cut ties with you, then I'll pay everything.
Scott was yelling on the phone in desperation. True to his words, he ended up paying the compensation, child support, and educational expenses in one lump sum. Later, the promised amount was deposited into my account.
I've paid the money we agreed on. Are you satisfied now?
Scott contacted me.
Nicole is different from a YouTuber like you. She doesn't cut corners with her cooking. She cooks luxurious meals every day. Even Mom is happy, saying how lucky she is to have such a good daughter-in-law. I feel so relieved to be rid of you. I should have divorced you sooner.
The divorce lifted a weight off my shoulders, making me feel refreshed. I no longer had to endure Debbie's sarcasm or worry about Scott, who hardly ever came home. Most importantly, Emma no longer had to experience any unpleasantness. Since then, Emma and I have been living a peaceful life together. However, 3 months later, Scott suddenly called me to my ex-in-law's house. Entering the familiar living room, I found Nicole holding a baby, Debbie, and Scott. Suddenly, Scott burst out.
Enough already. What are you trying to do? We've already cut ties, but you're still harassing us?
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean.
Don't play dumb. Ever since we divorced, every project I've worked on has fallen through. The home appliances I developed aren't selling at all. I've been significantly demoted because of this. I even received a transfer order to a local branch. When I asked the manager about it, he told me to ask you. What's your intention? Do you hate seeing others happy? You're trying to ruin us.
Stop making baseless accusations. I don't know anything about it.
Playing innocent is useless. I'll sue you for defamation. Get ready to pay a hefty compensation.
What are you saying? Go ahead. Do as you please. I scoffed as I said that. I had actively promoted the home appliances Scott was involved in developing through my quick recipe videos. His projects were successful because of the promotional effect of my videos. After the divorce, I saw no reason to continue using or promoting those products.
Mrs. Anderson, we'd love to have another collaboration with our products.
I'm sorry, but I'm no longer Mrs. Anderson. My husband cheated on me, and he even had a child with his affair partner. We've divorced recently, so I'd like to distance myself from your products. They remind me of him, so please refrain from contacting me in the future.
Please, don't say that. It's a huge loss for our company. Can't we persuade you to reconsider? We'll do anything, please.
So the company transferred Scott to avoid losing me. They realized that it wasn't Scott's skills that increased sales, but my endorsement. After recapping my experience with Scott's company's sales team, Scott's spirits were crushed, causing him to lose his previous drive and become unresponsive. By the way, I heard recently, Nicole, was it? You've been seen shopping at the department store. A friend of mine works there. Apparently, you've been buying ready-made meals in a frenzy. What's for dinner tonight? Must be those luxurious ready-made meals that Debbie is so delighted with.
What? Nicole, what's the meaning of this?
Nicole, explain yourself. Have you been deceiving me? You are a fraud. What? That's... Scotty promised to spoil me rotten. He said he'd do anything for me. That's why I agreed to be with him. Quit pointing fingers at me and own up to your own lies.
Hey, Mom. It was you who said Kathy was no good, that Nicole was better. You were quite happy with Nicole's cooking, coming over every night for a free meal. Now you're acting all high and mighty.
It's not even homemade. It's just store-bought ready meals.
It was a complete disaster. I wanted nothing more to do with these unpleasant people. So I quickly left the former in-law's house. I wish you all the best. 5 years later, the electronics company where Scott used to work approached me for a collaboration again. I was hesitant. Maybe I should decline. The thought of possibility having to deal with Scott again made me uneasy. Then I learned.
Scott has resigned from the company. He's been in poor health.
What? Scott continued to stay married to Nicole, who never made any efforts to cook. As a result, they ended up living on a diet of ready meals and department store prepared foods since nobody could cook. They didn't consider nutritional balance and ate only pre-made meals high in salt, sugar, and fat, leading to an accumulation of stress and a completely disordered lifestyle. This had a significant impact, causing Scott to gain 65 pounds from his original weight, developed lifestyle-related diseases, and eventually he became unable to work as before. I made the decision to accept the collaboration since Scott was no longer involved.
Mom, what's for dinner? I'll help.
Thanks, Emma. How about your favorite lasagna today?
Yay! Mom, tie my apron.
You've gotten so good with the knife.
Of course. I'm the daughter of a popular cooking YouTuber. I'll become a YouTuber and share my cooking.
I planned to create quick, nutritious recipes that even children could help make, aiming to support busy moms. Next time, I'll collaborate with Emma.